Pulses. Hi, I'm Michelle from Our Conscious Kitchen, and today we're going to talk about pulses. This is truly an enlightening discussion. It was for me, anyhow, when I learned more about them, because somehow much of the world doesn't regularly eat pulses. And honestly, pulses are a true health food and a weight loss food. It astounds me that more people are not talking about how filling they are and how good they are for weight loss, how healthy they are. They're actually an ancient superfood. They've been around since the 8th century BC. So today we're going to go over three things: what pulses are, why they are awesome, and how you can get more of them on your plate. So let's begin. What are they? What are pulses? Pulses are actually a subgroup of the legume family. I have a slide here. So basically, they're the seed part. A legume is actually a pod with a seed in it. Legumes include things like sugar snap peas, peanuts, fresh beans, soybeans. A pea pod is a legume, and then the pea inside of it is a pulse. But the pulses are dried. They're always dried. That's kind of standard for how pulses are managed or what they are. Hi, Debbie. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us today. Today we are talking about pulses because it was the United Nations World Pulses Day yesterday for 2021. So just trying to create more awareness about that. So I was just saying that pulses are dried and they encompass lentils, beans, chickpeas, and peas. Basically, beans date back all the way to the 8th century BC. They're mentioned in Homer's The Iliad, so that's actually the first mention of them. To be a little bit more specific, lentils include red lentils, green lentils. They also include pulses are chickpeas, dried chickpeas, red kidney beans, white kidney beans, navy beans, black beans, and within each of those categories you start to also get some subcategories that have heirloom beans. There's a lot of different kinds. Adzuki beans are another one that's pretty popular here in Asia, and then mung beans as well. So these pulses can be bought canned, actually, so they're a convenience food too. But I would actually encourage everyone to purchase them dried, which is much more economical, and they also taste better. So that's actually the most important reason to buy them dried, is because they taste really good when you cook them yourselves. You can also avoid any excess sodium that might be in the can. Hey James, nice to see you here, talking about pulses today. So basically you can avoid the excess sodium in a can. There are quite a few brands actually that don't put sodium in, so you just have to read the label. But another concern if you do get canned is that you can have BPA in the can lining. Some brands have this lining inside the can that serves as a preservative, but it's actually been shown to cause cancer. Hey Dalit. Everybody's saying hi today. This is great. Actually, if you get the cans, you should rinse out the excess sodium because they are faster that way if there is sodium in it. But I should also remind people that if you have a sensitive stomach or if beans haven't been part of your normal diet, you need to actually get used to digesting them, because maybe your gut doesn't have those good gut bugs and bacteria to digest the beans, so it might take you a while to get used to eating them, but they are healthy. It doesn't mean that they're unhealthy. So you want to make sure that you buy brands and you rinse them when they're canned. Try a brand maybe like Eden Organics. They do mention on their website that they rinse and soak their beans before they pressure cook them in the can. But actually a lot of brands do not soak their beans and rinse them before they pressure cook them, before canning. So it just depends on the canning facility that companies are using. But Eden Organics is one brand that makes sure that their beans are rinsed and soaked before they cook them and then can them. So let's see, why are beans awesome? That's our second question of the day. So with so many people wanting to lose weight and needing to make healthier food choices because of other chronic conditions that are tied to a poor diet, these foods are actually a true godsend. They're one of the most nutritious foods on the planet. They're actually rich in fiber and in protein, iron, and other minerals. They encourage a healthy heart. They also don't fill your stomach with a lot of excess calories. What they do fill your stomach with, though, is a lot of fiber. So they digest slowly and they keep you feeling full a lot longer. But there's more actually. They are energy boosting foods because they have a nice amount of carbohydrates mixed in with them. So they're typically 50 to 65% carbohydrate, maybe 25 to 35% protein, and then 10 to 15% fat. So they're actually kind of the perfect ratio. They're very delicious because there's so many different varieties and different ways that you can cook them. They last a long time and they have a long shelf life. So that's actually really convenient too. You can keep them around. They're naturally gluten-free. They're cholesterol-free. They're a good source of protein, like I was saying. Lentils actually have double the protein per serving than quinoa, which is a food that everybody is thinking of as being an alternative to meat that's high in protein. But lentils can actually go a little bit further if you're looking for more protein in your diet. They're low in fat, as I was saying, low in sodium or else no sodium in some kinds. There's lots of nutrients in them. You know, as I was saying, it's a good source of iron, folate, potassium. As far as the iron goes, black beans, for example, have 1.5 times as much iron as 1 3-ounce serving of flank steak. So quite a bit of iron there. The folate, chickpeas contain 3 times more folate than a serving of kale, another superfood that has a lot of good things about it too. And as far as the fiber, they have 4 times the amount of fiber than rice. So that's interesting and good to know too. So that's why it leaves you feeling full for longer. And then one thing about the antioxidants is, especially in those red and black beans, they have a higher antioxidant content per serving than even blueberries. So they're very healthy for you. Pulses are good for our immune system, and they have a positive effect on our nervous system as well too. So they're an ideal food for diabetics and people with celiac disease. And besides all the wonderful things about them, pulses are also great for putting a damper on the climate crisis. They're actually one of the most sustainable food crops in the history of food. As far as plants being good for the environment, they replenish nutrients in the soil too. They leave behind nitrogen in the soil because they're considered soil enrichers. They take the nitrogen from the air and they deposit it in the soil, which actually reduces the need for chemical fertilizers. So they're a good thing when farmers use them in crop rotation in between other crops because they help replenish the soil with nutrients. They also improve the absorption of carbon in the soil by biologically fixing that nitrogen, which allows them to reduce the greenhouse gases. And they are water efficient. Let me just click on my slide here. I've got another slide. There we go. So this is kind of cool. You can see that it takes about 1,800 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. Yet it actually takes 43 gallons of water to produce a pound of pulses. And then you can see also along this sliding scale there, how many gallons of water for, to get pork or to get chicken, even peanuts and soybeans there too. So they're actually very efficient in, using water and using our resources. So, so that was that. So then actually the last question we're talking about today is how can you eat them, right? Because now that we've learned what they are and why they're good, how can you eat more of them? Maybe if you're not currently eating some type of pulse, you want to start a little bit slowly. Maybe think about the ones that you've tried. How many different ones have you tried? And if you haven't tried many, it may be a good time to start experimenting. Because besides all the different types, there's so many ways that pulses can be prepared. They can be, added to top of salads. They could be put in wraps or in tacos. You can make bean burgers with them. You can put them in stews. You can make them into a creamy dip like a hummus. You don't actually only need true chickpeas to make them into a hummus. You can blend with other beans too and add, tasty things like garlic, ginger, lemon juice, paprika, or even cumin. You can also add them on top of bread with a tomato salsa. They can be boiled, pressure cooked, roasted, simmered, smoked, sprouted, stewed. There's so many things you can do with them, which is why they really are a great food. So if you buy them dried, though, it's important to know that they need to soak overnight for at least 8 hours. Although the lentils don't need to be soaked, just the beans. So if you're wanting to switch out any of your eating habits and try to maybe lose a little bit of weight or, feel full longer, get healthier, eating pulses daily at least one meal a day could really help with those goals. So if so, you could fill your grocery cart with a lot of different kinds of pulses. I really challenge you to try and eat that one serving of one type of pulse, maybe every day if you're not already. But if you don't have them as part of your diet already, you may not have built up the gut bugs in your gut to digest them properly. So be sure to grab a brand like the Eden Organics that pre-rinses them and pre-washes them and soaks them before they can them, so that your system can get used to them. You may even want to start with something as small as a quarter cup a day just at the beginning to get used to them. A serving is actually considered a half a cup of cooked beans or lentils. One serving of hummus is considered a quarter cup. So it's really not that much to try and get this extra fiber and nutrition into your diet every day. You could even eat sprouted lentils too. That's one way that you can eat lentils. If some people are already eating this amount, try to get up to 3 servings a day, as is recommended by Dr. Greger over at nutritionfacts.org. So, yeah, any questions about the pulses, about what we've talked about today? I don't see anything in the chat yet, but I do want to let you know that I have a recipe for you today. So it is this white bean and lemon kale soup. So let me get a link here for that. I think I've got the link. Here it is. I'll just copy it and put it in the chat so it's easy to find. My cursor is not working for some reason. Why don't we want to copy this? I don't know why it doesn't want to copy. Huh. It just wants to click on it. Oh, there we go. Technology. Okay, let me go back to the chat. Comments. Yep. All right, let's see. Paste this here. Oh, Dalip's got it for me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so yeah, I don't see any questions in the comments, but hopefully this information has been helpful and given you a better idea of what pulses are, and how many different kinds there are, why they're so great, a few ideas to use them, and a recipe to try out. So if you'd like to raise your nutrition IQ about pulses and other things like this, and if you want to learn more about how the taste of food meets with the science, if you're really busy, then I'm going to make it easy for you. So go to the link. If you go and get that recipe, you'll download the recipe, and you'll also get on my email list where I send out a weekly newsletter every week and give you a little bit of extra information and some fun facts that kind of make health and eating and nutrition really fun. So have a great day ahead, and goodbye for now.